Hi, thanks for joining me today. We're looking at number 72 in Pottag's Preparatory Melodies to Solo Work. As some of you know, I've been doing quite an extensive series on these. They're in a playlist on my channel, so you can investigate anytime you want. I found this book to be it's a great reality check for me. It shows me how well I'm playing, how expressive I can be musically, where my limitations are, what kind of things I'm finding difficult and struggling with. And I use that as kind of a jumping off point for what do I need to practice today. Now, these don't cover everything because these are in styles that are very traditional. So, for example, you're not going to cover playing in a big band with this type of music. You're not going to cover what you need to do even playing full volume in an orchestra with these kind of styles. But for general business playing, they can be very, very helpful. And so I think you can extrapolate the things that I'm referring to here in your own work, whatever the genre that you're playing in. So this one is called Gondolied, which is a gondolier song. And it's fairly long, and I've been having trouble. This is the seventh or eighth one of these I've recorded this afternoon, and my wife would say, "Steve, it's time to take a break." But you know, I'm stubborn, so I'm going to go ahead and do one more, and hope that I can maintain my concentration. So I'm going to play this for you, and hope you enjoy the gift. Kind of takes me back to Venice. If you've never had an opportunity to go, probably be a good idea to go before it totally sinks into the ocean. It's a beautiful, amazing town filled with a lot of history, that's for sure. So the gondoliers will carry you in a boat. You can hire them out. It's kind of like a water taxi, and you can go all around and see all the amazing architecture and interesting people. So this has a feel to it of a kind of a swing, written in 12/8, and that goes right along with the gondolier, who is basically taking his long pole and pushing it on the bottom and smoothly floating that boat through the canals. So you can get lost in a little picture like that, but it's what the picture conveys, and then you're trying to translate that into the feeling into sound that also conveys that feeling. So I tried to do that in this one, and I find it fairly challenging. But what helps in any musical endeavor is making choices about things. Some of them are practical choices, like, no, I can't play that soft, so I shouldn't try to play that soft because it's going to sound bad if I do. And I will try to learn how to play softer in the future. That would be, a practical choice. Another choice would be like, what tempo am I going to play? You may have noticed if you listened all the way through that the second time I let it flow a little bit more quickly. The gondolier is finishing with his customers and he wants the next set of customers so he can make more money. So he's moving right along with the flow. But you use your own imagination with this and see what you could do. Don't be so distracted by all the road signs. You have a lot of markings, a lot of breath markings particularly. And this is the first thing I want to address because I've had a big problem with over-breathing. And I was taught that way, and I think many trumpet players are taught that way and do it. And breathing to maximum capacity is not wrong. It's just that the larger breath you take, the more difficult it is to control. So when we're playing in a soft, gentle style like this one, if I take a big breath at the beginning, I haven't used very much air. And if I took a breath every time I saw one of those little commas, I would probably be stacking air, getting too much air in my lungs. Now, this is a problem that some of you are very much aware of, and others may not be aware of at all. So a good way to try this is first get comfortable with taking a breath when you don't need it. And a great way to do that is I start this without taking a breath. Or, a little bit easier, start it with just taking a conversational breath. So I go, instead of, I don't do the bass trombone tuba thing because I don't really need to do that. I need that nice flex, stretch. I need to be in the right position to support the air. I need the what am I trying to say, the suppleness of the movement of the diaphragm. That's all wonderful, but I don't actually need that much air. So sometimes I'll just start at what I call the neutral point. So the air inside your body with no muscular engagement except for maintaining your posture is the same air pressure as the air in the room. There's no exchange going on. So I'm going to start there and play. And so what I notice is that when I don't overbreathe, it's much easier to play soft. Now, of course, you need more volume of air. You always need flow, easy release of flow. When you're playing, you're not actually flowing that much air. The quality of the flow is what you're concerned with, not but which you feel just like generously pouring the air, but you're actually not moving that much air. So if you take a huge breath, it's very difficult to control the release of the air. And if you take a comfortable breath, what I call often a conversational breath, which is, I just took one. You see, I'm talking, I just took another breath, and I let the air go. So I'm staying pretty close to that neutral point all the time. And this is something that took me a long time to learn. Well, to be honest, I'm still learning it, because my habit is always to take a giant breath. Now, I've learned how to control the air regardless of how much or how little air is in my lungs. And that's something that we should all learn how to do. I'm just talking about practical purposes. If it's so much easier to play gentle in this way than if I always go, oh, okay. Then what happens is I end up having to actually hold the air back. And my body's not even in the right position. My diaphragm's not in the right position. My abdominal muscles are not in the right position in order to simply relax and follow through and release that air. They're holding the air back. So this is a huge problem that a lot of trumpet players have. If you're having trouble playing soft, release of the flow as gently as possible, and support, which means don't just, but constantly be feeding the air, and that solves most of the problems. Now, your lip still has to work, but the problem that most players have is when we play louder, our lip gets stiffer and tighter, and then we have to push the air harder in order to get it to vibrate, and pretty soon we lose the ability to play soft. So this is something that most players, except for orchestral players, don't cultivate, because a soloist can play within their comfort zone pretty much all the time, because it's their choice how they're going to play. In the orchestra, you don't have a choice. You have to play way softer than you ever thought possible and way louder than you ever wanted to, even if you like to play loud. So the extremes are ridiculous. Now, what we're talking about here is forget about the extremes. Just get comfortable in the middle and get comfortable where you're not comfortable. If you need more work playing loud, you know what to work on. If you need more work with this gentle style, devote yourself to that. Not all the time. That's why I like these little etudes, because you have the whole range of skills in your basic sound production that you need. I think I'm going to record the next one, but not on this take. I can hear my wife saying, "Steve, you got to stop," but I'm going to go ahead and do the next one anyway. And I hope that you'll join me whenever it comes out, and that you're getting something out of viewing these. If nothing else, I'm trying to give you at least a credible example, if not a wonderful performance, of some of the things that that dedicated trumpet players should be able to do. And I hope this inspires you to do your own work. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.